Number 5, if things must work, you work it out. What do we mean by take it by force? The team is take it by force. Number 1, we mean take delivery of your inheritance, of your possibility in God by force, by energy. Number 2, we mean take responsibility. Don't be a liability. Take responsibility. Don't die a liability. Why do we need to take it by force? Number 1, because your possession, your inheritance, and your possibilities are already established. It is already there. Don't let it be wasted. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 3. He said, God has already blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places. So you only need to collect it. Everything you need is already there. That woman needed to come to the stadium on that day to encounter God so that the sun can call. If she had had that encounter earlier, the miracle would have happened earlier. Take it. Your blessing is already there. Wake up and take responsibility. Number 2, because what God has for you is even beyond your own imagination. What God has for you is even beyond your own imagination. 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9. Eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, it has not entered the heart of man what the Lord has prepared for those that love him. What do I need to take it by force? You know, for this teaching, it's just going to be a beginning of something for me. And maybe from next week Sunday, we may have, we may need to extend the time of our services so that to allow for teaching of the word and many things. Because inside every service, there are 4 things that must happen on this platform: deliverance, rescue, restoration, and mobile fire. That was the mandate given to me. That was the assignment given to me. And all I want to do is to pursue that assignment. So from next week Sunday, we may give time for, because the understanding bring outstanding. So there may be extension of time or limited services. Maybe 3 services and then 2 hours, not 1 hour, because a lot can happen within the time. So it was because they couldn't bring out the handbills, so that was why I was between 2 opinions yesterday. So by next week, we may look at that. Longer time and shorter service. It may be 3 services, but teaching. Because like I said in the first service, I've always seen it. Anytime you are in the air, everybody's talking, I'm black, they can talk. But by the time you enter into some cloud and something begin to happen for 15 minutes, 15 minutes looks so little. But when you are inside that thing that you can't jump out, 15 minutes look like 15 years. And especially if you have been hearing, so everybody has been talking, give me this, One man was even beside me, he asked for food extra. In fact, I had to ask him, because I believe in asking questions. I said, why were you asking? I said, because of my right. I said, because I know you are talking from a point of knowledge. You are asking, give me this. Now, by the time the man that was arguing and was speaking grammar, by the time run into something, everybody went sim. Everybody became gentle. And I discovered that the spiritual life of many people is not really Balance. When you fail, you know you can pretend before people, but in the face of situation, nobody pretend. It is real you that will come out. So God is asking me to take this teaching. I will have made today a Thanksgiving, but because he has given that word since last week, take it by force. So if you are going to take it by force, you must see to your life of devotion to God. Life of devotion to God. Life of dedication to God. Life of consecration to God. Life that is set apart for God. John chapter 14, verse 24. Except a corn of wheat fall to the ground and die, it abideth alone. But when it die, it bringeth much fruit. It bringeth much fruit. Your life will bring much fruit. Why do we need a life of devotion to God? Please, number one, when you are devoted to God, you will be distinguished in life. John 12:24. You will be distinguished. You will be set apart in life. John 12:24. Number two, it brings the supernatural fertilizer to destiny. See John 12:24. Supernatural fertilizer to destiny. Your destiny become fruitful. Fruitful. Number three, the devotion is the root of productivity. Your life become productive. Productive. Elijah was devoted to God and his life was productive. 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. Passion for God beyond measure. Elijah. Passion for God beyond measure. And in 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 46, we saw the hand of God carrying a man beyond the strength of mortal man. That's what devotion to God, love for God, dedication to God can bring about. Number two example is Daniel. He had a devotion to God. He was up there. Daniel chapter 1 verse 8. Purpose in his heart, he will not defile himself. Daniel chapter 6 verse 10. Was a man elevated even from verse 1 to 3. Daniel 6:10. Devoted to God. Daniel chapter 2 verse 48. Daniel 2 verse 48. We saw the dedication and devotion of this man. Daniel chapter 6 verse 1 to 3 as well. He was lifted beyond measure. In verse 28, even though there are many challenges, but he was also supernaturally lifted. You don't lose anything when you devote your life to God. When you locate your position with God, God lifts you beyond your generation on the earth. So it's important that we get this sorted out. What are the things needed? What are the things that will be seen when our life is established in God? Number one, total set apart for God. Totally set apart for God. Number two, the word of God is rooted in our lives. I'll mention them and then talk about three or so, whatever my time can permit. Number three, a life of worship and praise. Worshipful and praiseful attitude. A life of prayer and fasting lifestyle, not once in a while. Number five, life that run errand for God. life that run errand for God. Number C is life that is given to bringing in souls. You know, many people just thought that it's just the job of pastor and evangelist and those that are being paid to be winning souls. Every child of God that is a bona fide child of God has responsibility of soul winning. This is second month that is finished, that is ending. Many cannot tell whether they have brought a soul to the kingdom. And we all answer the name children of God. So a life that wins souls, a life that settles souls. Number 7, a life of sacrificial giving. A life, number 8, of fellowship with the brethren. A life that walks in agape love, practical love. All these petty quarrel, when it's in the room, I can't come to the room. When it's in the office, I can't come to the office. When it's in the church, I can't come to the church. This life that is too short like this, that when you open your eyes to eternity, that if you live in bitterness, envy, offense, you may be opening your eyes to hellfire. What is now the reward? There are people, question, what can any woman being do to you that you will never forgive? Have you heard of tormentor before? The spirit of tormentor. This is why many are tormented. Some cannot even forgive your wife offend you. Okay. Like one of my father said, okay, will you kill her?